Welcome to Wife Cheating Story. I hope you have an enjoyable and relaxing time listening. Let's get started.
Caught wife with her ex at midnight ruin. Our 18-year marriage. After 18 years of marriage, Adam's life spiraled when his wife, Allison, began crossing boundaries with old flames and colleagues. Trust shattered, confrontations escalated into shocking showdowns and heartbreak. Just when Adam believed their story had ended, fate reunited them under extraordinary circumstances, forcing them to confront their past and reconsider forgiveness. This emotional roller coaster explores betrayal, redemption, and the complicated question, can love survive even the deepest wounds? Before we begin, let me know where you're tuning in from down in the comments. And if you enjoy this story, don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss our next tale. My name is Adam, and I am 41 years old. I have been happily married to my wife, Allison, for 18 years. Like any couple, we faced some disagreements, but I usually thought they were small and unimportant. Lately, though, my view has changed. Our marriage is feeling more fragile than it used to, and we are having challenges that could lead to big changes. You might wonder what the issues are. They are the usual things that can come up in any long-term relationship. To give you some background, I graduated from State College with a degree in psychology 19 years ago. You might assume that I would have a high-paying job helping others with their problems. While I do listen to people's concerns, like sadness and work troubles, I am actually a bartender. I earn about $50,000 a year, which is okay, and I enjoy my work. Allison is a nurse with an associate degree from a local community college. She did well on her licensing exam a decade ago. My wife is very smart and works a lot of overtime, which means she makes more money than I do. She often encourages me to go back to school for a higher degree in psychology, but I love my job too much to leave it behind. Allison gets frustrated with me because I don't want to chase after more money, and this has led to some strong arguments between us. This conflict is part of the tension affecting our relationship right now. While we were once very close, it seems we hardly see each other due to her long hours at work. I work late 5 nights a week, and when I come home, she is usually too tired to spend quality time with me. On a good month, we might connect twice. I remember when we first met. I was in her clinic after a car accident. I was 22 and preparing for basic training. It was a surprise to be delayed by the accident. But Allison was my nurse and seemed eager to talk. I asked her if she'd like to grab coffee after I was discharged, and she agreed. 3 days later, with my leg in a cast, she wheeled me to the cafeteria and we talked. I learned that I would likely be going overseas after basic training, and she seemed worried. I did my best to reassure her. We planned a date for the next Saturday. Since my leg was injured, we couldn't dance, but we had a nice dinner and shared some drinks. In the weeks it took for my leg to heal, I found myself falling in love with her. I was thrilled to learn she felt the same way from the very beginning, which boosted my confidence. I had always been active and had even done some boxing, but I had never spoken much about it with Allison. Even now, I can still run 3 miles and do a good workout every day to stay fit. Our first official date was the Saturday after our coffee. I took her to a cozy Italian restaurant known for its special wine. After dinner, as we were sitting in my car, I offered her a ride and we shared a warm moment. She thanked me afterward, saying she needed that connection. We hugged gently before I took her home. After that first night, we dated almost every week, and before I left for basic training 2 months later, I proposed to her and she said yes. The ring wasn't expensive because I spent most of my savings on the house I bought, but it was a 1/4-carat diamond, and I thought it was special. I asked Allison to move in while I was away for training because we were engaged. She wrote to me almost every day to keep our bond strong. When my training was done, I returned home for a month and had to tell Allison that I would be going to Afghanistan for 14 months. She was understandably upset. Fortunately, she was happy when I suggested we get married right away. Although we couldn't have a big wedding, her parents made sure it was nice, and we had a small reception with only about 40 guests. My mom was there, but my dad had passed away a while ago. Along with my aunts, uncles, cousins, and a few close friends, we had a warm gathering. We were married and happy. I carried my wife over the threshold of our home. We spent 2 wonderful days together. The next weekend, we had a mini honeymoon in Popotla, Mexico. The beach was beautiful, and our time there was special. One night, while still in Mexico, we talked about our future and decided that having children wasn't in our plans for now. We wanted to focus on building our lives first. Ironically, it later turned out that she couldn't have children. But I was okay with it. If kids were not meant to be, that was fine. Being together was what mattered most to me. 2 days after returning, I was heading to my new job in a challenging area. I had just been promoted to first lieutenant, and I liked the new rank. Let's just say my first assignment was pretty uneventful. Even though I had a degree in psychology, I was good with computers, which got me a spot at headquarters. 16 months later, I was home, yes, not 14, but that's how the Army works. "Oh my gosh, Adam, you're back!" my wife exclaimed, jumping into my arms. I had shown up without notice, and even though she was surprised, she was thrilled to see me. "Yeah, I'm back," I replied. It felt like a great start. 2 weeks later, I started a job at the Head Trip Bar and Grill. I was a bartender, but I like to think of myself as a psychologist working in a bar. I loved my job. Our relationship had changed over time, as they often do. At first, it was very exciting, then enjoyable, then comfortable, and finally routine. I missed the excitement of our earlier days, and so did my wife. To bring back some of that spark, we occasionally played with different ideas. We tried new settings in our home or even explored nature during trips. Sometimes we would engage in playful scenarios, which added fun to our relationship. Occasionally, we discussed playful themes. These talks remained fantasies for years. Then, unexpectedly, someone new arrived, Hunter, a plastic surgeon. "So what will it be tonight, husband?" Allison asked with a playful smile. I returned her grin. "What if you take charge and have some fun with someone you choose?" I suggested. "Oh, I like that idea," she replied. It had been some time since we explored this theme. "Okay, you'll be the one, and my friend over there will just watch," she said, pointing to an empty chair as I took on the role of her admirer. "Sounds good to me," I said. "His name is James, honey," she said, looking at the chair as if it were a real person. "Why does he seem so quiet? Is he in some kind of trouble?" I asked. "Because, darling, he can be quite jealous, and he knows that once we start, he can't get involved," Allison replied. "He's going to stick to his role tonight, and that's final." "That was fun," I said, genuinely meaning it. "Absolutely," she replied. "Someday we should think about trying out some of these ideas for real." Seeing me in that chair, feeling a mix of emotions that was thrilling. "The whole scene was exciting for me," I said. "No disagreement here," she said. She turned to me seriously. "What do you think, my dear? Could we try this out sometime? It might be even more thrilling in real life, don't you think?" "Not going to happen, dear," I said. "I'm not willing to risk losing you to someone else." "As if that could ever happen," she laughed. "I am still not taking the chance," I insisted. We shared a few peaceful moments and talked softly afterward. Then she surprised me with a request that caught me off guard. "Adam, can I ask you a favor?" she said. I felt open and generous, just hoping she wasn't asking me to go shopping with her again, which I couldn't do, and she resented a bit. "Adam, an old friend of mine, a man, is in town. His name is Hunter. He wants to catch up. What do you think?" she asked. "Sure," I said, relieved it wasn't about shopping. "When is it happening?" I asked. Just him and me. It's just to catch up. You wouldn't know much about those days," she said. My expression must have given me away. "Adam, it's not a date. I'm just asking because I want you to know up front," she said, seeming nervous. "I don't think so, Allison. It doesn't feel right." "A wife going out with an old friend?" I questioned. "Well, yes, but that was a long time ago. There's nothing like that now," she insisted. We argued about it for over an hour. I was tired, but tired enough to consider her request. "How long has it been since you last saw him?" I asked. "Since high school," she replied. "And you want to have dinner with him without me? It's just dinner, Adam. We're only talking," she said. "Does he even know you're married?" I asked, my tone sharp. "Of course. I told him all about you and how wonderful my husband is. Adam, it's just dinner with an old friend. Just talk." I didn't like it, Allison. It doesn't make sense, a wife having dinner with an old boyfriend. "I'm not on board with it," I said. "You don't have my approval." She looked at me with longing. "Adam, I'm going, please. It's tomorrow night. I promise I won't be out too late, but I am going. I need to. I wish you would support me, but I'm going. Please try to understand, she said. She reached out, but I pulled my hand back and sat on the edge of the bed. The closeness of the night felt shattered for me. She seemed shaken but determined. I don't understand. If you go, it will hurt our marriage. I'm serious, Allison. Please think about it, I said. Eventually, we ended the discussion, but I couldn't sleep. I went downstairs, lost in thought. This whole night seemed like it was leading me toward agreeing to something she truly wanted being with another guy. Was I overreacting? Maybe, but I had never felt this scared before. The next morning, we barely spoke. She found me still awake, and even though she tried to comfort me, I pushed her away and went back upstairs. She called after me. Adam, it's not a big deal. Please understand. I didn't acknowledge her and headed for the shower. While she went to work, I stayed behind, brooding about her and this old friend. It was Saturday, and she had to work, but I was off. Her date was that night, and our enjoyable time the previous night now seemed like a setup. I was uneasy, my nerves frayed. That evening, I stood in the living room when she came down the stairs looking beautiful. Just conversation, huh? I remarked, studying her closely. She smiled at me kindly and said, Please, I care for you. She tried to reach out, but I pulled away. Her frown showed her frustration, and she walked out. She got in her car and drove away. I made a call. Allison and I had talked a lot about Hunter, and now she had decided to go out with him no matter what I thought. I wouldn't just accept it. I had made plans the night before, plans she didn't know about. I refused to be a passive partner. Dreams are one thing. Real life is different. Working as a bartender, I knew many people who could help me in situations like this. Jim, she's on her way, I told the man on the other end of the line. Please follow her closely, I added. Jim was a private investigator, known among the police I knew. He didn't come to my bar often, but he and his wife Emma visited now and then. Emma worked with Allison at the clinic. Jim understood what I was going through. I knew he'd find out all he could. Now all I could do was wait. I decided to head over to the head trip. It was Saturday, so I wasn't working, but I needed a drink. Jim would call me when Allison got home. I didn't want to be there when she arrived. Let her worry a bit, if she cared at all. Maybe I was being childish, but I felt justified. She would wonder where I had been, but I wasn't saying anything until I was ready. I got a call from Jim at 2 a.m. I asked him to come to the head trip. She's on her way home. I followed her to see where she was, Jim said. Yeah, she told me she wouldn't be late. Not that she kept her promise, I replied with a smile. I knew this would lead to a lot of explaining for her. I wondered how she would justify it a flat tire, maybe. Did you find out anything? I asked. Yes and no, Jim replied. I have pictures and audio. They didn't go too far, but they were close in his car for almost 2 hours. He was familiar with her. What about the audio? I probed. Yes, you came up a couple of times. She mentioned you were a good husband. He asked a few things about you, but she stopped him after a couple of personal questions. Like what? I asked. What you look like, and... Jim paused. And what? How he saw your relationship, said Jim. He also asked if you treated her well. She said you were off limits. She seemed guilty talking about you. He clearly wants to get closer to her, but he wasn't pushing too hard tonight. I think you should take steps to keep him away, Jim advised. What kind of steps? I asked. Consider divorce. I felt bitterness creeping in. Well, that's between you and her, Jim continued. I think you could let me look into him. He seems like a threat. I know he's a doctor, I said. Yeah, she told me. I think she is drawn to his money. She has always liked nice things, I replied. Are you going home now? Jim asked. No, I'm staying here. I won't go back until morning. I have a cot in the back. He'll rest here after Herman locks up, I said. Okay, do you want me to check on him? Yes, please, Jim. You never know what you might find, I said. There's always something, Jim replied. I woke up to the sound of glass breaking. I sat up on the cot where I had spent the night and stretched. Looking out into the empty bar, I saw Natalie cleaning up some broken glass. I shook my head. It seemed like she broke a glass every week. I needed to freshen up, so I decided to go home and shower before facing anything else. The thought of being around my wife felt daunting. It was odd for a man to feel anxious about being with his spouse, but there I was. At least she hadn't done anything clearly wrong yet, but I had feelings that told me that would change. I had turned my phone off the night before, but now I turned it back on. I saw 3 texts and 4 missed calls from her. Well, I hoped she felt a little concerned. On the way home, I decided I would ignore her and her doctor for now until I got the full report from Jim. I was preparing for what lay ahead. Divorce crossed my mind, and while I hadn't fully decided yet, I felt disrespected, and that was hard to overlook. Once I parked, I went inside. As I entered through the front, I heard my wife in the kitchen. I headed for the stairs. I just wanted to shower and grab a change of clothes. I still wasn't ready to talk to her. I planned to get a room close to work and keep my distance. I was upset, and I knew things might only get worse emotionally. "Adam, where have you been?" she called out as I went upstairs. I kept walking up. I didn't want to talk yet. "Adam," she said again, following me. When she tried to come into the bathroom with me, I locked the door. "Adam, we need to talk. Nothing happened. I promise," she said through the door. I stepped into the shower and let the hot water ease the tension I had felt all night. After showering and finishing my routine, I came out. She was sitting on the bed waiting for me. "Adam, you're being childish. Hunter and I didn't do anything. You have to believe me," she insisted. For the first time since I had come home, I replied, "I don't believe you, Allison. You disrespected me. It's hard to deal with what you did. He must think I'm weak, but he's mistaken. I've decided to get a room for a few days while I sort things out. And tell me, do I measure up to him, or is he better?" "Huh?" She paled. "What decisions are you talking about? What do you care? You made your choice without thinking about me. I'll do the same. I'll reach out in a few days. Take care, okay?" "Adam, you're being unreasonable. It was just dinner. We didn't do anything wrong." I pressed further. "What does wrong mean to you, Allison? Would letting him close not count? Tell me what you think is wrong." She sat frozen in shock. "How? Just go, Allison. Please leave me alone for a while." She started to cry, but left me be. I hated responding like that, but I felt it was necessary. I finished getting ready and packed my old bag before heading downstairs. She was waiting for me at the bottom, looking desperate. "Adam, I can explain. If our years together and our kids mean anything, please give me a chance," she pleaded. "No," I said firmly. I left and booked a room at the Roundtree about half a mile from my work. The location let me walk to work unless it was raining, which I did throughout the week. While I was away from home, I focused on my workouts. It helped manage the stress I felt. Allison didn't wait for me to call. She called me every day at work. I answered, but avoided talking about anything important. So far, she hadn't apologized or promised to stop seeing the other person. She kept saying it was a mistake and that she could explain. On Friday, I got a call from Jim. I asked him to come to my office. "Hey there," he said. I smiled and gestured for him to sit down. "What do you have for me?" I asked. "Well, I don't know if you know this, but he's a plastic surgeon. However, he has had some problems with his practice. He's in trouble where he used to work," Jim explained. "What do you mean?" I asked. "He has faced several complaints from patients, and there could be legal actions if they can get him back. The chances of that happening are low. He might lose his home and other things, but that's nothing compared to what could happen if he goes to court," said Jim. I nodded. "I doubt Allison will want to be with him when she finds out." "I wouldn't think so," Jim replied. "But there's more. She's had lunch with him every day this week. She looks worried, and he is trying to comfort her. He seems to have an interest in her and is attempting to blame you for their situation." "How do you know all this?" I asked, curious. "They always eat at the same place, and I have a way to pick up their conversations. A tech-savvy friend helped me with it," he said, chuckling. That Saturday, I returned home. I was in the kitchen sipping a glass of wine when Allison walked in. She was not alone, and it wasn't the doctor. I stared, and she froze. The man with her hurriedly left when he saw my expression. "Adam," she finally managed once he was gone. "Yeah, Adam," I said, mimicking her. "A new friend?" "Adam was just helping me with something," she said, trying to sound relaxed. "Oh, I'm sure," I replied. "Maybe I should ask where the doctor is." "I've stopped seeing him. Adam, I'm sorry. What happened was wrong. I don't know how you found out, but you were right. I've talked to Hunter and told him I can't see him anymore. I told him it wasn't fair to you. I nodded. At least she was being honest now. That was a difference. Adam, Dan really was just here to help me. Can you help me since you scared him off? She asked. What was this something? I questioned, raising an eyebrow. She led me to the bathroom. It was messed up. I went outside and turned off the water. 20 minutes later, I had the issue fixed. There's nothing like having someone around the house, she said with a smile. Adam, will you come home? I promise to treat you well. Maybe fixing the pipe did it, or maybe it was her tone. For some reason, I felt it was time to try and move past what had happened. There was still hurt inside me, but I nodded without a smile. She came over, hugged me, and gave me a soft kiss on the cheek. I thought that was meaningful. Why not on the lips? I just didn't know what to think about her or us anymore. My feelings were a mess. Time would tell. For the next few months, things seemed normal at home. Each day we got up, worked, came home, and maybe twice a week we shared close moments. That was better than before. We still talked about some of our ideas, but we saw them as just ideas, not something that would really happen. We had discussions to try and bring some excitement to our relationship. Even with all of that, I was worried that something had to change. And it did. One day, she really got to me. What's wrong? Still worried about Hunter? She asked. I had felt sad since the argument, and sometimes it hit me hard. She wasn't unaware. She knew I still thought about it sometimes, even when we were together. I thought we could have moved past that, she said. I looked at her, upset. Just a little incident? I replied, feeling frustrated. Oh, you're still jealous, aren't you? Adam, let it go. I shouldn't have gone out with him. I'm truly sorry. Can't you just accept my apology? I promise to involve you more and not leave you out again. I didn't respond. Something she said left me uneasy. What did she mean by anything I do? I figured I was reading too much into it, but I still felt uneasy. Truthfully, I hadn't felt calm even a single day since coming back. I guess, I finally said, lacking enthusiasm. I saw she was concerned about my tone. I thought she hadn't realized how much it bothered me that she went out with someone else and left me out. But there was something more, something she wasn't saying. I sensed something troubling was coming. I just couldn't figure out what. Saturday came, as it usually does, and I was off. Allison was in a cheerful mood. I was getting ready to cut the grass and do some chores in the yard. Honey, we haven't gone anywhere in a while. Let's go out tonight, she said. What do you have in mind? I asked, not really in the mood to go out. I don't know. Dinner and dancing, maybe, she suggested. I looked at her as if she had a plan. She noticed. Don't worry. It will just be us. Or we could invite the Blaines, she said. We need to do something to get out of the house occasionally. If you don't like my idea, you'll listen to what you want to do instead. That caught my attention. At least she was giving me a choice. I should have known better. When Allison came downstairs, after taking longer than usual to get ready, I was taken aback. She looked wonderful in a lovely black dress, and her makeup was perfect. Her smile was so warm that I felt the urge to compliment her. You look fantastic, I said, my voice filled with feeling. Maybe after tonight, I thought, I could finally relax. Thanks, she replied, smiling broadly at my compliment. You look good too, I said. I knew I looked fine, but not as good as her. As we entered the cloister, a nice club, I saw some familiar faces from past gatherings. I greeted them as we followed the host to our table. The food was tasty, and our conversation was light as we ate and watched couples filling the dance floor. The band played mostly slow songs until dinner was winding down, then mixed in some faster tunes. I asked Allison to dance, and I could see a few guys watching us as we walked by their tables, which made me feel proud. We danced to a couple of fast songs and then some slow ones, but soon Allison started getting a lot of attention from others. Over the next couple of hours, she was surrounded by many admirers, and I only managed to dance with her one more time, which made it hard to talk. I wasn't happy about it. Eventually, looking tired, she came back to the table with someone new. I didn't like the look of this guy, and I felt uneasy again. Allison introduced him joyfully, saying, Honey, this is Benjamin. He's a doctor at the clinic. I've invited him to join us. You don't mind, do you? I didn't answer since he was already sitting down. "Nice to meet Allison's husband at last," he said as he reached for my hand. I shook it, feeling like I had to respond even though I didn't want to. For the next 20 minutes, they talked easily about Dr. Court's work, while I only managed to say a few words. I noticed the band was going to play again, and I asked Allison to dance. "Oh, Adam, I promised this dance to Benjamin. You don't mind, do you, honey?" she replied. I felt disappointment wash over me. "What?" I exclaimed, a bit too loudly. I sank back into my seat, embarrassed. Trying to keep my composure, I forced a smile. "No, of course not, but save some for me, okay?" I struggled to hide how I felt. She gave me a concerned look, but quickly brushed it off. "Of course, dear." "Love you," she said, her eyes showing a hint of worry. With that, she joined Benjamin on the dance floor, and I sat there alone, thinking. For the next 45 minutes, they danced and seemed to enjoy themselves. As it got close to 11 p.m., I considered gathering my wife and leaving. A woman's voice cut through my thoughts. "Hi, Adam. Not working tonight?" she asked. "No. I always have Saturday nights off, Claire," I replied, smiling. "Do you want to dance?" "Why, yes. I was coming over to ask you," Claire said. As we made our way to the dance floor, I saw Allison returning with Benjamin. I tried to ignore them. As we danced slowly, Claire commented, "I noticed that guy taking up your partner." "Yeah, what do you do when your wife is so popular?" I replied. "Why not dance with other girls?" she joked. "Not my style, Claire. I'm dancing with you because I want to dance," I said. "Well, good. I'm glad your reasons are clear," she laughed. We danced 3 times, and after our last fast song, I took her back to her table. Allison and Benjamin were laughing when I walked back to our table. Benjamin's look was very annoying. Allison seemed nervous, and frustration bubbled up inside me. "Is there something wrong with that look, Benjamin?" I asked as I sat down. "Huh?" he stammered, suddenly serious. "No. Well, I mean," he faltered. "Then stop it," I replied, not wanting to hide my dislike for him. "Adam, have you lost your mind?" Allison asked. "Not yet, but give me a moment," I answered. Benjamin seemed unsure about how to handle the situation. I was feeling more confident. "Adam," Allison began. "Look, whatever it is, I'm not interested, so you can save it. Do you want to dance?" I challenged her, but she avoided the question. "I saw you with that other woman," she said. "You must be too tired to dance with me." "Claire's nice. What about you?" I replied. "I haven't seen much of you tonight." "Adam?" she asked, clearly worried about how I was feeling. She was closer to Benjamin than to me, and I didn't like it. "Allison, why don't you come sit by me? People might think you're with Benjamin instead of me," I suggested with a smile. She pulled back, looking a bit embarrassed. "Adam, that's not nice. It's really not called for," she said. "I'm sorry, Benjamin. My husband gets protective sometimes, but I think it's sweet," she added, trying to lighten the mood. I didn't mean to embarrass anyone, but she didn't change her seat. Silence fell, and everyone took sips of their drinks. I knew something was about to happen. "Adam, can I talk to you for a moment?" Allison said, looking at Benjamin. "Benjamin, will you excuse us?" I thought she might address what I had said before, but I was in for a surprise. "Sure," he replied, looking serious now, and went over to the bar, giving Allison a gentle smile as he left. She returned a weak smile, looking uncomfortable. I sensed that whatever she was about to say might not be good for me. "Adam, Benjamin and I were talking," she began. "Yes, I know. I've noticed how much time you've spent with him tonight," I said. "You've hardly said anything to me for most of the night, Allison." "That's not true. I need to be polite to my colleagues. You understand?" she replied. I didn't, but I let it go. "Well, you know how we always talk about improving our connection?" she continued. "Yes," I said cautiously, narrowing my eyes. "Oh, it's nothing bad," she hurriedly added. "I just thought we could spend more time together." I was speechless, and I must have looked shocked. "It wouldn't be like last time. That was a huge mistake on my part," she continued. "We'd all have fun together. Don't you think that would be enjoyable?" "No," I said firmly. "What do you mean, no?" she replied. "You know what?" I responded. "It could be fun. Think about it for a moment. Once you've had a chance to consider it, I know you." Let me picture it, I interjected. We'd all be okay together, right? Of course, she laughed. And who would get to be with you first? I asked, looking directly into her eyes. Well, I think maybe we'd start with Benjamin, if that's okay with you. So, it'd be in a lesser position, right? I countered. Adam, you're looking at this all wrong. It'll be enjoyable. I know you'll love it. Adam. Please stop, Allison. I'm not sharing you with him or anyone. And tomorrow, you're quitting your job at that clinic. No discussions. Huh? Quit? What do you mean? I thought you and I could make things more fun. No. If he comes back here, I will let him know how I feel. I smiled, but it was not a warm smile. Allison looked surprised and finally spoke up. Honey, I didn't mean to upset you. I thought we could improve our relationship. We've talked about it. Please stop. It's not going to happen, okay? I saw Benjamin watching us from the corner of my eye. He looked uneasy, thinking about whether to come back and help Allison. I looked at him and slowly shook my head. He started to come over, but I raised my hand to tell him to stop. He went back to the bar. I turned to Allison. Tomorrow, you need to resign. No discussion. Allison was upset now. Adam, you can't make me quit. I've been there for 10 years. I need this job. I have responsibilities. Yeah, and the most important one is me. You seem to have forgotten that, I replied. I don't know what's changed in you lately, but I don't like it. Get a hold of yourself or leave. Adam, I asked you before, and I'm asking again. Do you want to dance? You've been avoiding dancing with me all night, and I need you to know it really hurts. Adam, I don't feel... Then forget it. Dance with someone else. You may be with him soon anyway, I said. I stood up, finished my drink, tossed a 50 on the table, picked it back up, and walked out. She could manage things herself. Allison must have decided to dance later because she didn't get home until after 2 a.m. I heard her talking to someone at the door when she returned. I couldn't tell if it was a man or woman, but I guessed it was Dr. Court. Either way, she walked into the room looking upset. Do you have any idea how embarrassed you made me feel? She asked. I was taken by surprise. I hadn't slept well, but she didn't know that and confronted me without thinking. I rolled over and stared at the ceiling. Oh, you mean embarrassed like how you ignored me most of the night? Something like that? I replied, matching her mood. I'm done. What do you mean done? What are you doing? Let it go, Allison. It'll be out of your life soon forever. I packed while she shared her thoughts. If she cared that I was leaving, she didn't show it. When I finished packing, I looked at her. You really are pretty. You'll miss what we could have had. I turned and left. She stood at the top of the stairs watching me go, saying nothing. I headed for a nearby place to stay and would find something more permanent later. Just as I was about to settle in, I got a text. Good riddance. Well, that summed it up. I slept soundly. The next morning, I prepared for a long day. I called the bank to cancel our shared cards. I had 2 of my own, and so did she, so that wouldn't be an issue. I cashed out my savings, but left enough in the checking account for her utilities and bills. Around noon, I called a friend who owned a nearby motel to book a room for the month while I looked for a more permanent place. I had 2 daughters to consider and needed enough space for them if they wanted to visit. By 3, I started my shift, trying to forget my personal troubles. I was worn out from everything that had happened. I just wanted some rest. 2 days later, on Wednesday at 6 p.m., I was cleaning the bar. The after-work crowd had slowed down a bit, and those staying were on their second rounds. Hey, Adam, can I get a refill on this soda? Isaac called out. You got it, Isaac, I replied and poured him a fresh drink. Isaac was a lawyer and a decent guy. He usually handled corporate cases. He was single, having been for 9 years, and had told me his first marriage didn't end well. I empathized with him since I had some similar experiences. Hey, Isaac, didn't your wife leave you for some doctor? I asked. Yeah, Bose or Bosch or something like that, he replied. Well, I guess we have something in common, I said. Huh? My wife is moving on too. It all came to a head on Saturday night, I shared. Oh, I'm sorry. I know how hard that can be. You guys have been married a long time, haven't you? Yeah, 18 years, I said. Wow, that's tough, he said. Are you thinking about separation? Separation? I replied. I'm not rushing into anything. Let her handle it. She's the one with a new interest, I said. Just then she walked in. She looked beautiful, as though she had dressed up for the evening. She approached the bar with a frustrated expression. Allison, I'm at work. I wouldn't bother you at your clinic, I said. Could you please leave? No, Adam, not until you listen to me, she insisted. I felt trapped, so I sighed. What do you want to drink? I asked. Oh, and by the way, you look great. Are you going out? She looked at me with curiosity. A white wine would be nice, she said. And no, I'm not going out. This is for you. I hoped we could talk later. I poured her drink and placed the bill in front of her. She seemed upset, but pulled a 10 out of her wallet and set it firmly on the counter. I took it to get her change, and when I returned with her $7, she took the money and placed it all in the tip jar. Thanks, I said. Now can we talk? She asked, ignoring my gratitude. I sighed again. I guess, but you need to leave afterward. I'm working, I said. I motioned to Natalie to cover the bar for me, poured myself a cup of iced tea, and led her to a table in the back. I don't have all day, so let's get to it, I said. You have 10 minutes. Adam, we need to talk. I mean, really talk. This situation is getting out of hand. I've spent the last few nights thinking about what upset you. I keep coming back to things I did that hurt you, like with Hunter, and that other night with Benjamin. I realize now it's not just what I did, but what I didn't do. I should have talked with you first, she explained. Really? I said. You don't think it was anything you did? Yes, I mean no. It's about what I didn't do. If I had asked you first about spending time with Benjamin, maybe all this wouldn't have happened. Okay, if you had talked to me about that, how would you think I would have felt? I asked. She looked at me as if I wasn't cooperating, but she kept calm and responded. It was my mistake. I didn't think it through. Looking back, I can see you were right. I ignored you most of the evening and got defensive when you pointed it out. I'm sorry, Adam. I was just a bit distracted. I admit it. So you're saying it was your fault, not just a misunderstanding between us? I asked. I had studied psychology, so I needed solid reasons from her. Yes, I guess that's true, she replied. But if I had come over to share my thoughts with you, I believe you would have listened. What do you mean by that? All that talk about just spending time together, letting me choose what we do? Was that not entirely true? I said. Adam, I didn't think you would change anything, and I should have talked this out with you. But I didn't want to upset you, she said. You still haven't answered my questions, I pointed out. Okay, I admit it. I didn't tell you the complete truth. My heart was in the right place, but I was not thinking clearly, she confessed. Adam, I know you haven't been very happy with our relationship for a while. I want to change that. I want to make things right. I want to give you what you've been hoping for. I'm here to show you the love and care you deserve. I know I've made mistakes, but I want to fix them now. Will you forgive me and come back home? I feel lonely without you. As she started to cry, it tugged at my heart. Just a couple more questions, Allison. When you were with Mr. Court the other night and got home after 2 a.m., was there anything going on? No! She nearly shouted. Taking a deep breath, she continued, We just talked. I lost track of time. He was just trying to be nice about our issues. I laughed. Allison, you know he has no respect for me. Didn't you see the way he looked at me? He didn't just upset me. He made me really angry on purpose. Luckily, there are no serious consequences for that. Adam, that's not fair. He didn't mean any disrespect. He thinks you're lucky to do what you love and to have me. And please, don't confront him. I don't want you to get hurt. Promise me you won't make things worse, she said. I care about you too much to let that happen, she added. Inside, I felt a mix of emotions. A part of me hoped for a confrontation. I felt ready for it. You take his word over mine? I appreciate your concern for me. I promise not to start anything, I replied with all seriousness. I believe him. I can usually tell if someone is lying, she said, giggling. I just stared at her. What do you see our future as? I asked. I noticed Isaac watching from the bar. He was far enough to not hear, but he had a knack for reading body language. Honestly, Adam, I see us as together forever. No one else could ever take your place. But we may need to figure out some things together, she said, sounding unsure yet ready to work things out. The other things being companionship, right? I asked. Yes, Adam, we should find something enjoyable that isn't a threat. Maybe a friend like Benjamin. Are you suggesting that again? Am I hearing you correctly? I interrupted. Only if you're okay with it, honey. I wouldn't push you to do anything you didn't want. I would never betray you, she insisted with noticeable urgency. I said no. Do you hear me, or will you continue to insist? I asked, watching her deflate. She thought she could convince me, but now she would need to try harder for the next discussion. If it's something you can't imagine, then we won't talk about it anymore, she said. But can you at least promise me one thing? What is it, Allison? I asked, feeling suspicious. Could you not ask me to quit my job? Allison, I really don't like your co-workers, especially Hunter and Benjamin. But if you promise never to ask to hang out with them, not even for fun, I can agree to this once, I said. But if you even think about them while we're together, it's over between us, and I mean it. She nodded slowly. Okay, I get it. But really, neither of them mean anything to me. They would never get in the way of us. I'll agree to your wishes, she replied. Could I trust her? I wasn't sure, but after all this time, maybe she deserved another chance. All right, then. You'll see you at home. But now I need to get back to work. She smiled as she walked away, looking back at me one more time before leaving. Isaac met my gaze as I returned to the bar. She's quite the negotiator, isn't she? I picked up on some of what was said, he commented. What do you think she really wants? She was hoping for a different arrangement with one of her co-workers, a doctor. But she didn't win, I said. But, Isaac asked, pressing. But I allowed her to stay at that workplace even though I wasn't thrilled with it, I admitted. You know that was her main aim, right? Isaac grinned, a hint of satisfaction in his eyes. For a couple of months, things went all right. A little tense in the beginning, but I was somewhat confident she was avoiding those two co-workers. Emma, my friend Jim's wife, also worked there and had a close look at all the doctors and nurses. She was an old high school friend, and I felt I could trust her. I decided to reach out to Jim to discuss my concerns about Benjamin and Hunter. Emma, am worried about Benjamin and Hunter, I mentioned. She laughed lightly. You have good reason to be. They are friendlier with the nurses, including Allison. So you've noticed too? Sure, but I haven't seen Allison encouraging it, so I didn't think it was a big deal, she said. Jim has mentioned some of the help he's been giving you. Well, you know they both tried to get closer to her, and I was close to making her quit that clinic, I shared. Emma was about to respond, but I raised my hand to stop her. I let her talk me into it, but only if she stayed away from the two people, I said. Emma nodded knowingly. And you want me to keep an eye on her, she said. Instead of avoiding the topic, I agreed. Sure, that's fine. But Adam, I've got a bad feeling about this. You have to promise me one thing, no excuses, she said. Of course, I replied. If I find out something concerning, you have to promise me that you will at least talk to her and listen. No just dismissing her without giving her a chance. Is that clear? Got it, I said. And no trouble, said Jim, who had been quietly listening. I laughed a little. Okay, Jim. Understood, I said. Adam, I hope this all works out, said Emma with a serious tone. It wasn't until 6 weeks later that I received any real news from Emma. I kept in casual contact with her and Jim, but we had not discussed our earlier talk about keeping an eye on Allison. I was working a double shift because the morning guy was sick when I got a call from Emma at 5 p.m. at the bar. Her voice jolted me awake. She had overheard Benjamin and Allison talking in the lunchroom when she popped in for coffee. Adam, I think they've made some plans. I heard your name mentioned too, but I didn't want to eavesdrop, so I couldn't catch everything, said Emma. I thanked her and hung up, my stomach churning. Feeling betrayed does that to a person. There better be a good reason for their meeting, or it would be over between me and Allison. The rest of my shift went by with me hardly paying attention. My mind was elsewhere. I sat in the back for a while before I mustered the strength to go home. I wasn't looking forward to seeing Allison. At 11:15 p.m., I parked in the driveway, took a deep breath, and walked into the house. Allison was still busy in the kitchen. Hi, she said when I came in. You look worn out, Adam. Long day? Yeah, I covered for Colin. He was sick, I said. I thought about mentioning the meeting with Court, but decided to stay quiet for now. She nodded, understanding. I stayed silent while she prepared a late snack. We used to often enjoy fruit and coffee late at night if we were still awake and not in a rush for bed. I thought back to the last time. It had been over a year. "Sliced oranges and crackers?" I said. "It's been too long." I looked at her, unable to hide my suspicion. "Yeah, it's healthy," she said. "It'll help satisfy our hunger and give us time to talk." She smiled, ignoring my expression. The snack was not just for filling our stomachs. She had something else in mind. Sitting at the table, we chatted and snacked a bit more. I felt amused, knowing she was eager to tell me something but was nervous about it. "Adam?" she said. Here it comes, I thought. "The clinic is having a small gathering this Saturday night. Would you take me?" she asked. "It'll be at the Camelot Inn." I looked at her. "Dinner? Dancing? Meeting people?" I asked. "Yes, of course," she replied. "If I take you, are you planning to dance with me?" I teased. "I deserve that," she said. "I will save all my dances for you, Adam. I realize I didn't make the most of the last 2 times." "Well, okay. I guess we're going as a pair then," I said. I knew something else was going on, probably involving Dr. Court, but I wasn't ready to confront Allison just yet. I needed more information. She smiled, clearly grateful. "I'm feeling energetic," she said. "Are you free?" I was available, and she looked nice. "Actually, I am," I replied. She took my hand and led me into the living room. Even though I didn't want anything to do with the clinic and its people, I actually began to look forward to the gathering, as she called it. Some of Isaac's enthusiasm for social events had rubbed off on me, and as someone interested in psychology, I thought, "For Ricky, England, and St. George." I chuckled at the reference. Allison started getting ready in the afternoon. I noticed it seemed to take her some time, but then I realized I was being unfair. The end result was for us to enjoy, so how could I criticize her efforts? The outcome was amazing. She wasn't just pretty. She was truly stunning. Her red summer dress, the bow in her hair, and the black choker, along with her makeup, were simply lovely. My admiration must have shown. "Thank you for your visible appreciation," she said. I nodded in response, even though I felt a slight twinge of jealousy. I knew that any man who tried to approach her tonight would face my protectiveness. "I hope I don't have to step in with any admirers tonight. You look almost too perfect," I said, only half joking. "Again, I'm glad you think I look good," she replied. "It's going to be a great night for us. I promise," she said. "Oh, and I don't mind your jealousy," she laughed. "But please don't get into any trouble. I really don't want to have to help you out." Allison always liked being the center of attention, and I was sure she would be just that tonight. We arrived around 6 p.m. The party room was about half full. With 100 guests expected, it would likely get busier as the night progressed. We were just enjoying our first drinks and chatting with Emma and Jim when Dr. Court walked in with someone else. Good, I thought. Now he had someone else to talk to and wouldn't bother us. About an hour into the party, I had danced with Allison 5 times and with Emma once. Jim had danced with Allison twice. Things were going well. Jim and I were at the bar getting more drinks when Dr. Court came over to me. I was surprised. "Mr. Wells? Adam?" he said. "Dr. Court," I replied coolly. May I have a word?" he asked. "I should get back. My wife is looking quite lovely, and I'm afraid I'll lose her if I'm away too long," I said, only partly joking. "Yes, Allison does look wonderful tonight, but I promise I won't take much of your time," he said. I set the 2 drinks I was holding back on the bar, looked him in the eye, and said, "Okay, go ahead." "Well, I wanted to say that I think we got off on the wrong foot last time we spoke. I wanted to apologize. I admit I overstepped my bounds about the little gathering that Allison suggested to me. I thought you were okay with the fun stuff. Otherwise, I wouldn't have even considered it," he said. "Is that all?" I said, starting to move away. "Only that I'd like us to be on friendlier terms," he said. "I know you told Allison not to talk to me, which makes things tough at work, but she's been managing. I can only talk to her about work matters. I know she's respecting your wishes." "Okay," I said. "I wonder if you wouldn't mind softening the restrictions a little. It's pretty uncomfortable not being able to even say hello to her, he said. I'm not ready for that, I said, but thanks for the apology. I understand, he said. Jim had already gone back to the table, and Allison looked at me curiously as I returned and set her drink down in front of her. What was that about? She asked, nodding back toward the bar. Your old friend wanted to talk, I said. Said I misunderstood him. Adam, he's not my boyfriend now or ever, she replied. Whatever, I said. Well, it was nice of him to apologize, right? She pointed out. Did he say anything else while you were there? I started to piece together the conversation Emma had heard in the break room. Allison had mentioned that he needed my okay to talk to her, or things could get tricky. He said he wanted to be friends, I told her. Allison looked at me, wanting more information. I stayed quiet. What did you say to him? She asked. I accepted his apology, but I told him I wasn't ready to be friends, I replied. Adam, can't you just be nice? He apologized, Allison pressed. I raised my eyebrows at her. Was tonight planned, Allison? Did you set up his apology? I asked. What? No, I didn't plan anything with him. He spoke on his own, she insisted, annoyed. I thought we had agreed, Allison. I will never be friends with him, never. The only reason I let you work at that clinic was so he and Hunter wouldn't be part of our lives. That won't change. Am I clear? But he apologized, she argued. Jim and Emma quietly stepped back, giving us space as they returned. He apologized to earn your trust, but it's your choice, him or me. Decide. Adam, you can be so stubborn, she said through clenched teeth. When it comes to who's close to my wife, I'm not just stubborn, Allison. I'm firm. If he tries to come between us, he'll make sure he understands. He's much bigger than you, Adam. You might not want to stir things up. I don't want to deal with the fallout, especially not visiting you in the hospital, she replied. He'll do my best, I said. The rest of the evening was fine. Allison let the issue go. We danced and talked with our friends, and I even encouraged her to dance with some young interns who seemed harmless and just there to have fun. At home, things were a bit tense, but we shared a sweet moment and slept well. On Monday, I got a call from Emma. She told me that Allison had taken a personal day. I asked if she knew why, but she didn't. However, she mentioned that Dr. Court had also taken a day off and hadn't shown up. I thanked her and felt uneasy. Could it just be coincidence? I didn't think so. I sensed something was about to happen. I was home when Allison arrived, looking surprised. Tough day at work? I asked. Her clothes were a bit messy, and her hair looked like she'd been busy. Yes, she stammered. What are you doing home? It's Monday, right? She seemed taken aback. I took the night off. Personal leave, I said, using the same term Emma had used for her earlier. She went pale, but quickly gathered herself. Are you okay? She asked. Yes, I'm fine. I called your work, but you weren't there, I said, keeping part of the truth to myself. Yeah, I had errands, she replied. I could have pressed her about those errands, but I held back for now. I needed to learn more. I had to find out if she had been unfaithful, and if so, it would be goodbye. That evening, Allison cooked a big meal, beef stew, my favorite. We talked and laughed about happy moments from our marriage. I felt unexpectedly good, and despite my worries from Emma's hints, I wasn't ready for the news Allison was about to share. While we enjoyed the meal, she became thoughtful. Just as I wiped my mouth, she smiled at me. Like it? She asked. Ha, you know it was delicious. You make the best beef stew, I replied sincerely. I'm glad you liked it. It's one of your favorites, she said, giggling. You could say that, I said. Do you ever think about your dreams anymore, Adam? You know, the ones you used to share with me? Yeah, maybe sometimes, I said, but not as often as I used to. Really? Yeah. With everything that happened with those two doctors, it kind of made me less interested in fantasies, I said. I was still thinking about her being absent from work and looking disheveled, but I decided not to jump to conclusions. You really shouldn't feel that way, Adam. You still have the right to your dreams just like before, she said. I get excited thinking about the things you used to tell me. I wish you'd share them with me again. What do you mean? I asked. You know, talk about them again. Maybe even consider trying some out sometime. I'd be interested, she said. Yeah, I bet you would be, I replied. Don't be mean, Adam. I'm just teasing a little, she said. You really want to try something exciting, don't you? I asked. Not if you don't, she replied. But it's a pretty intriguing idea. How do you see it happening, Allison? I said. You really want to know? She asked. Yeah, I do, I replied. Well, if it was a fantasy we were acting out, we'd all meet up and have a few drinks to relax, you know, she said. I nodded. Then we'd go somewhere for fun. I just looked at her quietly. Well then, me and the other guy would take our places, but you wouldn't join at first. You'd just watch, she continued, smiling at my reaction. Then I would interact with him, making sure you watched closely. I want to keep things exciting for you. I listened, intrigued. After he finished, I'd invite you to join in, just like you've always imagined. It would be all for you, she said. I can tell you enjoy sharing this, I said. But dreaming about it is different from actually doing it, I added, especially with your friends Hunter and Benjamin. She replied. From what I see, you seem interested too, despite them. Maybe, I said, but not with those friends of yours. Definitely not. Oh, don't ruin the fun. This is the first time you've been so engaged in a while, and we both know it, she replied. Just remember what I said, Allison. I'm serious. She looked at me in a way I couldn't quite understand, but I dismissed it, thinking she was happy to have affected me, at least a little. In truth, she had just a little. What happened over the coming weeks was partly my fault. I let her believe I wanted to explore this idea. She thought I might appreciate it if she approached it the right way, even with Hunter and Benjamin around. That misunderstanding was hers. She should have known I didn't want those individuals involved. A warning came when Emma told me Allison was in touch with both Hunter and Benjamin during the week. Things had been great between us, so I had overlooked her breaking our agreement. I shouldn't have. I should have been more cautious, but who could have predicted that Allison would take the risks she did? On Saturday, I felt cheerful. My flower beds were blooming, and I had finally managed to get rid of the dandelions in the yard. Allison even seemed impressed with my gardening skills. After dinner, she sent me to the store for a few things she needed for the next day. I should have guessed something was up. When I came back, she wasn't alone. "Honey, I'm home," I called out as I put the groceries away. "In here, Honey Bear, in the front room," she responded, sounding cheerful. I took that as a good sign. I grabbed a bottle of beer and went into the room. There on the couch sat my wife, Allison, along with Hunter and Benjamin with their arms around her. I stopped in my tracks, unsure of what to say. The beer bottle was still tilted as I stared at the three of them. "What's going on?" I asked quietly, lowering the bottle. "We had an agreement, Allison." Benjamin looked worried. "I thought you said he was okay with this," he said. "You told us he was ready." "He is, but it's a surprise for today," she explained, looking at me. "It's all for you, Adam. They want you to know." She glanced at them, unsure. "Well, you tell him," she said to Hunter and Benjamin. "Mr. Wells, Allison mentioned you were ready for some fun. We're sorry for how we treated you before. Please forgive us," Hunter said. "I feel the same," Benjamin added quickly. "No way," I replied as I moved closer to them. I could handle one of them easily, but both at the same time felt uncertain. "Adam, we need to address this sometime, and tonight is the night," Allison insisted. "Without asking me first?" I shot back. "So you're just making decisions for me now? Please, Adam. We've talked about this a lot. I know you want this," she pleaded. "It's going to happen, and it's for you. I want to make sure you enjoy it." "And you didn't think to mention it to me?" I replied. "I didn't want you to hesitate or feel uncomfortable. They are just here to be friendly and share some time together," she explained, sounding more certain. "This doesn't change our marriage or our family." Hearing her insist made me doubt her intentions. "Adam, you can just watch if you want. It could strengthen our bond. It's not about love, just something different," she said. "And if I don't want to?" I asked. Her face showed concern and determination. "We're going forward, Adam. I know you have doubts from before, but you need to trust me on this," she said firmly. I felt confused and needed a moment to think. Just then, Benjamin stepped in, breaking the tension. "You know, I've tried really hard to make things right with you, but you're not giving us any slack, are you?" he said. "Not at all," I replied. He moved to block my way, challenging me to get past him. I felt ready for this. "Get out of my way, Benjamin," I said, trying to get around him. He swung at me, but I easily avoided it and stepped back. Suddenly, someone hit me in the side, startling me. I dodged out of the way just as another punch missed, causing him to bump into his friend. With both of them in front of me, I felt a rush of confidence. I raised my knee and hit one man's leg, making him fall. Now it was just me and the other man, who looked furious, but I was calm. Benjamin charged at me. "You think you're tough?" he sneered. I stood my ground, ready to respond. He missed his shot, and I took my chance to hit him with quick blows. He looked stunned before falling to the floor, dazed. Allison gasped, surprised that her friends were out of commission. She looked at me without saying a word. "You just couldn't keep your promise, could you, Allison?" I asked. "If you want to be with them, go ahead. I won't be here to stop you," I said coldly. And remember, I didn't start this fight. Looking around, I saw Hunter struggling to stay awake from the pain while Benjamin was knocked out. I had gotten myself a hotel room and ignored her calls for days until they stopped. I realized I needed to pick up some clothes I left behind. When I pulled into the driveway Saturday evening, I walked in and surprised Allison. "Adam!" she exclaimed. "I didn't expect you. Why didn't you answer?" "I guess you didn't expect me," I replied. She looked unsettled. "You almost harmed Hunter and Benjamin. You have nothing to say?" "I don't owe you anything. You alone are responsible for what happened to them," I said, feeling some satisfaction. "At least you won't need to visit me in the hospital." She looked down, ashamed. "I was wrong," she finally admitted. "I had no idea you could stand up to them." "I understand. Maybe they weren't as strong as you thought," I replied, letting her know I felt good about my stance. I turned to leave, but I decided to call Isaac anyway. We set up a meeting for the divorce on Monday morning. It was going to be a busy day. 2 days later, I met with my lawyer. "Everything ready?" Isaac asked. "Yeah, it has to be done. She doesn't respect me, and I can't live like this," I admitted. The next day at work, some officers showed up. "Are you Richard Wells?" one of them asked. "Yeah, that's me." "Can I help you?" I asked. "You're under arrest," he said, showing his badge. I was surprised. I had acted in self-defense, but it felt like everything was going against me. They put handcuffs on me and took me to a waiting car. The jail was cold. I was told that my court appearance would be the next morning. They were right. It was a tough situation, and I pleaded not guilty, or rather, Isaac pleaded it for me while I stood there feeling uncertain. "Bail, Your Honor," said Isaac. "10,000 and surrender your passport," the judge said, banging his gavel to end the hearing. I managed to get the bail together. I was free, but for how long? Isaac thought I'd be able to show I was morally justified, but my actions had been extreme. I had hurt someone, and there would be consequences. I found a small but nice condo close to work and moved in as soon as I could. As I carried the last box upstairs, a soft voice called out behind me, "How are you, Adam?" It was Allison. "I'm okay. How about you?" I replied. "Honestly, not good," she said. "I feel lonely. My partner is missing." "Who is that, Allison?" I asked. "You know it's you," she said. "You want what I can't give, and I can't give you what you want. It's time to move on," I said. "Allison, don't make this harder than it is," I replied. She nodded sadly. The divorce papers were set for the following Friday, and she would receive them at work. I wanted to keep it as simple as possible. If she didn't fight me, that would make it easier. She seemed drained, just like I was. The papers were signed, and I had to wait 6 months. I felt very lonely during that time. I thought about her often, and the sadness didn't really go away. About a month later, I got a call from Isaac. He wanted to meet at the cloister. I was working, so I told him I'd be late, and he said that was fine. When I arrived, I looked around for Isaac. He approached me with a serious expression. "What's going on?" I asked. He pointed to a woman in a red dress and a tall man in sunglasses across the dance floor. It was Allison and Benjamin. "I didn't bring you here to upset you, but I thought you'd want to know. Now you can put to rest any doubts about her loyalty. I have pictures if you need them later," Isaac said. I forced a smile, but it wasn't warm. I was divorcing her, and it was clear she didn't care at all. "Well, we are divorcing," I said. "You'd think she'd wait a little longer before moving on." I think I'll go say hello. Isaac frowned. Is that a good idea, Adam? He'll be fine. If he gets upset, I can handle it. He's all talk, I said. Isaac nodded. The music ended, and I walked over to their table. Hello, everyone, I said with a smile. Adam, Allison exclaimed. I didn't see you here come in. I'm here with a friend, just enjoying my evening, I said. How are you, Benjamin? I asked, trying to hide my amusement. He just glared at me. Benjamin, you know how polite Allison is. Don't you have anything to say? Not to you, he replied. My tone changed. What did you say, Benjamin? I asked. He hesitated and looked down, clearly not wanting a repeat of our last meeting. That's what I thought. Have a good time, I said. Adam, please don't start anything. We ended things. We're just here to enjoy the night, said Allison. Whatever. I was surprised to see you, that's all. It hasn't been long since our separation, I said, and walked back to Isaac, who was watching from a distance. I felt Allison's eyes on me as I sat down, feeling a mix of satisfaction and sadness after our exchange. Isaac and I enjoyed a couple of drinks when I noticed that Allison and Benjamin were leaving. I would miss her. Divorce is tough, too much emotion to end things suddenly. Isaac was wrong. I still felt sad and wished I could fix things. But Allison's choices had crossed a line I couldn't ignore. My future seemed dull. A few more months passed, and then the divorce was final. I couldn't face her again and felt anxious about running into her. Life went on. The pain gradually lessened. After a year, I still thought about her, but the feelings were fading. I hoped they would continue to do so. Then one night at work, she walked up to the bar looking nice. Hi, Adam. Buy me a drink, she said. I stared at her, surprised. Sure, what would you like? I asked, frustrated but unable to resist. White wine, just like always, she replied. I chuckled. Some things don't change, do they? She smiled. No, I guess not, she said. Where's your partner? I asked, pouring myself iced tea. He's not here. I told him I was coming to talk to you, she said. Oh. Benjamin and I are getting married. I know I hurt you before, and I wanted to be honest with you from now on. I don't want to hurt you again, she said. I could see she meant it. It was hard to hear, but I believed her sincerity. Thanks. I think I believe you. Have a good life. Is there anything else you want? No, I just wanted to tell you myself so you wouldn't hear it from someone else, she explained. Allison, I have a question, I said. She smiled, glad I was willing to talk. Was Benjamin really that much better than me? I regretted asking as soon as I did, but I had to know. No, not really, just a little different. He's okay, but not better than you, she said. Thanks, I replied. Even if it's not true, I needed to hear that. You're welcome, she said. We chatted a bit more, then she left. When I say she left, I mean she moved away. I knew we were really over. It would be a few years before I saw her again. I was sitting at a table in a bar, sipping a soda. Life had been okay for me in the last few years. I had moved to a nice condo not far from the bar and walked to work most days. The short walk was good for me. I could think and stay healthy. I wasn't overweight, and I still exercised regularly. I felt good. Natalie came over and looked me over. When are you going to find someone to take care of you? She asked. It's been several years now. I noticed you looked a bit pale. It might be nice for you to get some sunlight. I don't know about that, I replied. Who would want someone like me anyway? I laughed to lighten the mood. Besides, I have you to keep me on track. Thank you for your concern. Me take care of you? My husband would have something to say about that, she responded playfully. You need someone special to worry about you? Your husband is lucky, and I hope he knows it, I said. He has a wonderful and trustworthy partner. Who knows? Maybe one day I'll be lucky too. Adam, she said firmly, you need to get out and meet people. I know you're feeling better, but you still don't seem happy. You deserve to be happy. Please listen to me and take steps to improve your situation. She tossed a towel at me and returned to her work behind the bar. I watched her from a distance, but suddenly I started to feel unwell. Natalie, something feels off. I bent over, overwhelmed by discomfort. Everything around me felt confusing. I sank to the floor and my breathing turned heavy. I could faintly hear her voice and someone shouting. My vision began to fade. I saw a bright light, then found myself in a hospital room. Trying to remember what happened, I realized I had been at the head trip. Wasn't it Saturday? I felt lost. Natalie? I heard the shout again. Hez, awake! Someone nearby was speaking loudly. A man and a woman, likely a doctor and a nurse. They were checking on me, shining lights in my eyes. The nurse's gentle touch was comforting as she examined me. The stitches look good. No leaks, doctor, she told the medical team. Good, but let's keep him calm until he understands what's happening. We don't want him to hurt himself after the surgery, the doctor instructed. They didn't speak directly to me, which felt strange. Nurse, let his partner know he's awake and recovering, the doctor added. Yes, doctor, she replied. Partner? I was surprised to hear that I was in a relationship. Later, I learned that I had undergone surgery for a ruptured appendix and was lucky to be okay thanks to quick actions by Natalie and Hank. Lost in my thoughts, a familiar voice brought me back. How are you feeling? It was Allison, the new duty nurse. I was surprised to see her in uniform. Allison, what are you doing here? I asked. I work here now, she answered. I moved back a couple of months ago. Benjamin? I asked about her husband. He left me for someone younger, she shared. Adam, I heard you weren't doing well and I wanted to check on you. I hope that's okay. No, it's fine. I appreciate your concern, I assured her. That's good. So how's life for you? Are you married again? No. Marriage doesn't seem to be in my future, I replied. Why not? You're not too old, she said. I guess I'm hard to please. It doesn't matter now. You were enough for me back then, I said. She raised an eyebrow. Do you still hold a grudge against me? I wouldn't blame you. I don't, Allison. I felt hurt, but I never hated you. There's still a part of me that cares about you. I think I always will, I said. Allison, did you tell the doctor you were my wife? I asked. Yes, I did. It was just a reaction. I felt close to you and wanted to say something that felt right, she explained. It was a moment of vulnerability, and I could sense she might cry. Just then, the doctor entered. For the next week, everyone, including Allison, cared for me with kindness. It felt strange, but I was grateful that my ex-wife was there for me. On my last day, she rolled me to the lobby. Adam, can I come visit you sometime? Would that be okay? She asked shyly. I met her gaze. I would like that, I replied. How about Sunday, if you're free? I am free and I'll come by. Lunch? She suggested. That sounds great, I responded. We are slowly trying to rebuild our connection. Remarriage? Maybe. That's a different story. If you think it's a good idea, let me know. The end. After diving deep into Adam and Allison's tumultuous journey, it's clear that trust broken can seldom be fully restored, no matter how much love remains. This story reminds us that second chances are possible, but true forgiveness demands more than words. It requires accountability, sincerity, and profound personal growth. Can love really heal betrayal, or are some wounds too deep to mend?